Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Grapes and Greens Series 3. The last time I was in this room was in 2004 with Peter Dawson, and he very kindly invited me to his office. And today I'm back in the RNA Clubhouse, and I'm delighted to have with me an old friend, Michael Sawicki, who now is club membership secretary.
So members secretary.
Members secretary, but also executive director club.
Absolutely, yes.
Delighted to have you.
Delighted to be here and nice to see you again.
Absolutely. We've just flown up from 6 o'clock in the morning, all the way up here, up for a couple of days. And you very kindly said, let's have a podcast. And, you know, it was great because we go back quite a way.
We do.
From Dulwich and Sydenham days, which is great. But as everybody will know, we usually start with a glass of wine, even at 10 o'clock in the morning. So I've brought you a really nice Gosbourne, 51 degrees north, which is named primarily because of that's their location in the world. The second sunniest place in the UK, I'm told. And 51 North is all about picking the best grapes from the best areas from the vineyard. And they make it from they really take their time to get the tasting, and it's on lees for 6 years, which is incredible. And last year, in 2025, there's Sparkling Wine and Champagne award from around the world, and this actually won it.
Wow.
It also won, or Gosbourne as a brand, won the British Luxury Award as well, beating the likes of Aston Martin and some of the best luxury brands that Britain can produce. So we're delighted to have them as our wine partner and to introduce them to you, Michael, as well.
Yeah, well, I've had a sip. Thought it was the 1990s again, drinking this time in the morning. But it's delicious. I mean, the first thing you get a whiff of very green apples, and it tastes lovely. The only English sparkling wine I've had previously is Chapel Down, and that's lovely. But this is
just have another sip,
nice.
and
it's delicious.
And we were just having a conversation. We've got a very nice RNA wine glass, and instead of the flute, I was just saying that it's now, to get the full flavour, people were drinking it from a wine glass rather than the flute, and you can see the difference. I think you can see the bubbles still being consistent, but it probably, because we've rushed from the airport, could be chilled a little bit more to get the perfect tastes. But not a bad start to the day.
Not a bad start to the day. No, it's delicious. Thank you for bringing it.
Talking about starts, you started as a greenkeeper at Dulwich and Sydenham. And I'm seeing more and more greenkeepers who are, having obviously been at Loch Lomond, here at St Andrews, worked with a number of really, really good course managers and greenkeepers. And a lot of young people come into greenkeeping, mainly because sometimes they don't know what to do, they like the outdoor life, the solitary, that kind of thing. But I'm seeing that a lot of people move very quickly up the chain if they have a love and a desire to be able to do that within greenkeeping. But now also I'm seeing them move to become managers, which I think is really exciting, and usually making very good club managers as well. I think the first that I knew of was Chris Lomas. And actually, just recently, Scott Wheel has come all the way through.
Wow, I work with Scott.
Yeah,
That's
so
incredible.
Scott's a great guy, and he's at Tandridge.
I knew he was at Tandridge as the course manager, but I've known Scott for years.
Yeah.
He came to work for us in Richmond as a 15-year-old.
Okay, there you
That's
go.
incredible. I knew he'd moved up, but I didn't know he'd moved up to the management role.
Great golfer, really good golfer.
Good golfer, goodness me, yeah.
Good course manager, didn't want to lose him, and then promoted him to club manager.
Wow.
And I think he's going to be a really good club manager.
I'll have to get in touch with him. Yeah.
And I've been lucky enough to work with some great course managers, as I said. And I always think that and some great chefs. Yeah. And I always thought if you could get the greens great on the course and off the course, makes our life a lot easier, doesn't it?
100%.
You know,
100%.
Two things that food's not great, or the greens aren't great. If the greens are good and your belly's full, people are happy.
Absolutely.
So
I would say they're the two. I mean, I did something for BIGGA a couple of years ago, and I said I'm the third most important person in a golf club after the head chef and the course manager.
Yeah.
Because you've just nailed it.
Yeah.
If you can get those two positions right, then people are going to be happy. They're not going to be looking for issues. They're just going to, the two things that make people happy is good golf, a well-presented course, and good food.
Yeah.
And if you can add a nice bit of wine to that as well and good service, then you're winning already.
Yeah. No, that hospitality with golf is perfect.
Absolutely.
What have you learned? What did you learn from being a course manager or a greenkeeper? Because from my perspective, it's about management. Is it you have to manage people and presentation and budgeting. So there's the consistency from that, and then moving up to looking after every other area. You've got probably more people than anybody else apart from the kitchen.
Yeah.
You have to present almost on a daily basis, depending on year and spring, summer, autumn, whatever it might be, and then equipment as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those. You're absolutely right. You know, as a course manager, you are managing the biggest budget generally at the club, which is quite right. You know, the people are there to play golf, so most of the money is spent on the course, which is absolutely quite right. So you're absolutely critical to anything. And during that, you are managing budget, you're managing people, your capex, machinery replacement, all those things. And so you've got that, but I think the most transferable skill for me is teamwork, because you're just ensuring everybody's working towards a specific goal. You've got to manage time. And also the thing that greenkeepers are excellent at is resourcefulness and flexibility. You've got weather conditions, equipment problems, and completely disrupt your day on a day-to-day basis. So you have to stay agile. You have to stay on top of it. You have to be flexible. You have to work on the spot, think on your feet. And I think that really relates well to a manager's job, because it's kind of the same thing. You know, my day, I try and organise myself as much as possible, but my day can flip on an email or a phone call.
Yeah.
And you have to reprioritize all the time. And that's key, I think. If getting that right most of the time will keep you in a job, I think, because you've just got to think, well, actually, is this more important than my day-to-day book? No, yes, it is. Or actually, no, it isn't. And that's what really so you're trying to, it's an unstructured world, but you've got to try and add as much structure as possible. And I learned so much from being a course manager and working with some very good course managers along the way as well. People like Murray Long and Lee Strutt just taught me so much about how to manage, and managing people as well is huge.
Massive. And again, managers and leaders have to manage people, don't they? And understand that. And that's what makes good leaders, I think. If you can manage people and bring them with you to kind of work with a goal of where you want to get, or with a mission, that's the art of leadership.
Absolutely, yeah. I know, and I'm always led from the front. Again, the people I worked best with led from the front. They were the lead husky rather than the Eskimo whipping us. So it was just that sort of thing, really. And again, when you're a course manager, you learn an awful lot about management.
Yeah, and I think one of the things today is they have to present as well, because you're the best person to present about the golf course.
Yeah.
And the other thing I've seen since the 90s is the amount of work that's done on golf courses as well. And the capex that goes into that, whether that's getting an architect, redesigning bunkers, moving steps, taking trees away, and the explanation to the membership is really important.
Yeah, you look at the modern. I think the greenkeeping world is in an excellent place. I think Jim Croxton's done an amazing job since he became chief executive of BIGGA. And we were looking for a course manager at Birkdale, and the applicants, honestly, we were blown away by the applicants, the professionalism from start to finish. And these guys were coming up, and the passion they had for the position. For one thing, it was just beyond anything I'd ever seen before. But they also can present. They present themselves so professionally, and like you say, they've got the biggest budget. They're the ones spending, in your average club, they're the ones spending the most money. The impact on their work has the biggest impact on your members. And when you're making changes, if you don't take your members with you, you'll be going through a hard time. And I just look at the current crop of course managers out there, and I think they've taken the industry forward an awful lot. Looking at the Pledges and Sean at Birkdale, John McLaughlin at Wallasey, people like this have just, they do both exceptionally well.
Yeah. My son, he just sold his bar.
Okay.
And he had some downtime, and it's like, and he's very keen golfer, so again, he's got 2 small children, so what am I going to do? And he's actually gone back to being a greenkeeper, because he was a greenkeeper with me at Loch Lomond when he was 16.
Wow.
And he's gone to work with John Lockyer at the Wisley.
Yeah.
And he came, so he's been there 3 weeks, and he said, Dad, wow, the health and safety that I'm going through, I have to have ear tests, to make sure that my ears aren't affected by the noise of the blowers. And he said, like, the attention to detail of, the sand every day and the greens, and at that very highest level with the budget that they've got, for example, he said, eye-opener.
John's
John.
reputation goes before him. He's like I say, I think most people in the industry now are just, at the very top end of the game. I think it's moved on an awful lot
100%.
over the last few years.
And what made you then move from being course manager at Dulwich and Sydenham and then taking over kind of the secretary's role it was, and then moving as you have done from, a nice club at Dulwich and Sydenham, probably great first stepping stone, and then West Surrey was a nice stepping stone, Parkstone, great golf course. Then Royal Birkdale was really where you grew up, it was kind of going back home, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Being a Liverpool supporter as well.
Absolutely.
Ashley's happy.
So at the time, I'd been the course manager for a couple of years, and my then boss, the secretary, was leaving, and my Greens chairman was a recruiter in the city. He was a high-end recruiter. And we were just chatting about what we felt the club needed. The course, we did a good job on the course. In the 2 years I was there, we did a pretty good job. So I had a decent reputation. And he just sort of said, we need what you've done to the course, to the club. It needs a bit of a shot in the arm. It needs a bit of oomph, bit of enthusiasm, a bit of organisation. And it started from there, really. And I had to apply for the job. He encouraged me to apply for it. And I'd never worked in an office before, ever. So when I got the job, it was kind of an eye-opener, office politics. I was used to working with a bunch of guys, and you can be fairly blunt. You could say, right, this needs doing, to get out and do it. And if you didn't do it properly, you could be fairly blunt. So you couldn't do that in an office. The office politics came into it. And so I had to learn on my feet. And like you said, Dulwich was a brilliant place to learn it. They were so good with me. Patient, and I worked with some amazing people. I was really fortunate with the chairman I worked with and people like that, and other people around it, helping me, wanted me to work. They wanted me to succeed, which was always great. Yeah. And then after 7 years, it was probably time for me to move on, and then applied for the job at West Surrey. And going back to what we were talking about before, excellent course manager, excellent chef. First things you see when you walk in, think, we can make this work. And I was only there for 18 months, but it was a brilliant 18 months. I really, really enjoyed my time at West Surrey. And then Parkstone came from nowhere, really. I knew Gary Petty, who moved on to
St George's.
Yeah, St George's. And I'd met Gary a couple of times, really liked him. And he rang me and said, look, I'd like to put you forward. So I was extremely flattered, for one thing. And then it was a step up, Parkstone had just broken into the top 100. Like you say, beautiful golf course, lovely part of the world to live. It was the right time for the family to move to a seaside location, which we've always had our eye on, really. Yeah. And I was very happy there, happy there for 3.5, 4 years. And then from nowhere, I got a call from a recruiter saying, there's a job, would you be interested? I said, and I remember saying, look, it'd have to be a big job because I'm very happy here. When he said Royal Birkdale, I was like, that was that. I was like, well, that's the jewel in the crown of the England Gulf Coast. And like you say, it's I'm from the northwest originally. Heather's from Shropshire, so family, all that, and that move went really well. We lived in Formby. Birkdale is just an incredible club, members, staff, just brilliant. I couldn't ask for more. Massive projects, complete governance change. Phase 1 of the course works for the of the course development works, And then from nowhere, I suppose when it comes to planning, I've never really planned my career, but one of the things I really enjoyed about working at Royal Birkdale was the championship side of it, liaising with the R&A on host venue agreements and all the course changes they were hugely involved with. We did the amateur while I was there. And I really liked the guys from the R&A. I really got to know them quite well.
You got to know Johnny Cole Hamilton.
Johnny Cole Hamilton.
Yeah, he's my next door neighbour when I was here.
Wow.
Yeah, so
John,
with 2005 really well. Open, working with the Links Trust and Johnny, it was we'll have a beer over the fence kind of thing. Oh, will you come around to mine? I'll come around to yours. And that was great to be able to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, the Open has grown so much. You probably couldn't do that today, but it just shows you how far things have come. But I always remember, Peter Dawson, for example, he loved the amateur. So like the amateur is the Open is fantastic, but he said, I'm just so busy. Whereas I can actually enjoy the amateur because I have time to actually be involved with it as such and run things and talk to people. And it's a great tournament, isn't it?
It is. Well, it was a shame for us because it was it was the COVID tournament really. So it was a very strange atmosphere. There was no fans or anything, which was a shame, but it was still great. And I got to know a lot more people from the R&A, the director of the amateur championships and people like that. And I remember coming home one day and saying to Heather, I said, it'd be nice to work for the R&A. Maybe it's too late now or whatever. But I said, I quite fancy working for the R&A. It's such a great organisation, and I really like the people. Grant Moyer used to come up and look at the golf
Grant's
course.
Great,
Walking around a golf course with him and talking about pin setups for the Open Championship. I mean, as a golf geek like me, that's just like a dream.
Amazing, isn't it?
And then again, so I got a conversation with a recruiter, and again I was like, wow, I was extremely flattered to be asked, and then one heck of an interview process.
I bet. Because you took over from Stephen too.
I did, yes.
Who used to be at Sunningdale.
I did, yes.
And actually was, at the Dukes. At the Dukes,
Now it's Craig Toon now, yeah. Yeah, so I knew Stephen a bit during my time down south. I got to know him a little bit. I'd had a few conversations with him during my time at Birkdale, so I was very comfortable with having Stephen, and he gave me a brilliant handover. I had a sort of a 6-week handover with Stephen. Which
had they done the refurbishment before you came on board? Or
the refurbishment had been done with a sizable snagging list for me to get my teeth into.
Sort out all the stuff that needs to be fixed.
Yeah, but to be fair, it had been done extremely well. There's just bits and bobs, there's bits and bobs. So it was great to have that few weeks with Stephen. It really was invaluable. I mean, I learned so much from him in that short period of time. And so I started, the reins were handed over to me in January 2025. And so it's, I never, and it's a sort of, when you're sat here looking outside on to the first fairway, the old, and, I was walking to work for a while because we had a rental at first in the town. I'd walk around that corner and you've got to take it in.
It's amazing.
You've got to take it in. You can't let that become, you can't take it for granted and just realise, this is the home of golf. This is one of the most historic, the most historic and important club in the world. And so to work here and to be trusted with the management of it is pretty special.
It's pretty special. Yeah, definitely. And you were saying you lived in the town. You now live just outside? Kind of in between the town and King's Barnes?
So we moved in November to an old farmhouse, Grade 2 listed, with everything needs doing.
You obviously like renovations.
Well, we've done a few. I wasn't looking for another one, but Heather got her way. But no, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful place to live. It's the most rural place I've ever lived. I'm getting used to rural living as a townie. It's taken me a while, but it is lovely. And the drive in is from King's Barnes to work is cool. Just
especially on a morning like this.
Well, I did it this morning actually. I looked across and I could see the sea glistening, and I could see right along the coast. And again, it's one of those, just take it in, don't take it for granted. This is very special.
I said to Ash when we came up and we just parked right by the coast, and so I used to drive around this corner every day for 7 years. And my offices were in the Jubilee Greenkeeping Centre.
Wow, right, yeah.
So and that view, even like today when I was like, I remember that view. That is sun shining, and usually there's always people on that beach, isn't there? Always on the beach.
People swimming. It's always, and even in the depths of winter, there's people in there swimming.
People surfing and all sorts. Yeah.
So it's a great place to live as well.
And it's great for kids as well.
It is.
It's very safe. My boys grew up pretty much here, and it's a great family place as well.
It is. Yeah, it is. I mean, we were very lucky. I think again, I've been very lucky where I've lived as well. As part of the job, living down in Dorset was beautiful. Yeah. Really loved Formby. We loved there, and then up here, I've just been lucky again. Very lucky.
So it's funny, in my time when I first joined here, sort of Peter had just taken over from Sir Michael.
Yes.
And you had Lachlan doing your role, like in Macintosh, and then Auburn Stewart Wilson came in, and then Stephen and yourself, and then Martin Slumbers took over from Peter, and then Mark de Bon has taken over from Martin. So, how have you now, from a year in, how are you getting into the job, and what actually is the role, and has it changed, do you think, from Lachlan's time?
I think the world has changed, so I should imagine it has. But I suppose the process is still the same. So Mark Darbin and I started at a similar time, actually. He took over from Martin, I think, virtually the same time. Yeah. So it's been really good, and I think the difference between here and it's very different from any other job I've ever had before. Because
no golf course to look after.
No golf courses to look after, but I still speak to Sandy Reid occasionally to get my turf fix, as it were. I like bumping into Sandy now and again at events and things, because he and just to keep my eye in and stuff like that. And I do for the spring and autumn meeting, I'll go and do a morning setup with the greenkeeping team, and because members love that sort of thing. We take a few photos, we talk to them, and inform members about how they set up the course for the day. So I still get my turf fix.
One of the best things when I did the 2005 Open here, and on the Thursday of the Open Championship, I did the setup with the team as well. So 3:30 in the morning, going out there, and that was one of my best memories, I have to say. It's.
I'm going to try and do that at Birkdale, because I know Sean so well. I'm going to ask him if I can tag along.
Pretty cool.
Just tag along and set it up, because that's sort of, as from my greenkeeping experiences, that's a bucket list thing to do, surely. So I wonder if he'll let me. I'll put the application in.
I'm sure he will.
But as for the role here, it is very different. So you've got I'm a member secretary, so the responsibility of running this incredible the Royal and Ancient Golf Club of St Andrews, the home of golf, huge responsibility. And I would say that is similar to a job as a secretary of a standard club, except that you haven't got the course. But then there's other things here that is hugely is much more than your average course, like the membership process, the hospitality.
Can we go into that membership process? How do you? I mean, I'm sure a lot of people listening, and don't forget we're now in 42 different countries. So and our second largest listener is the US, and I'm sure the US is probably saying, yeah, okay, how do you become a member of the Royal and Ancient Golf Club?
It's reassuringly difficult.
No,
not at all. It's a really fair process. I must admit, and it's so thorough. It's most clubs I've been involved with, been fortunate. We've never really struggled for members. It's not one of those. West Surrey, we had to go out and hustle for membership, but that's in an area.
Not anymore, you don't.
Not anymore, exactly. But it was at the time, which I quite enjoyed actually. But after that, I've been very fortunate, to be working at a place with people banging on the door to get in, which is much easier than trying to drag them in off the street. However, nothing quite sets you up for the membership process at the Royal and Ancient. So how it works, it's a fairly standard thing that a member has to be a member for 5 years. A candidate, they call it candidates for the book. They have to have a proposer and 2 seconders, and then every November there's a huge scrutiny meeting, and who can get into the book. And it's got quite difficult. What they decided a few years ago, because obviously people are living longer and they're staying fitter, there wasn't quite so much of the natural sort of natural churn of membership. So they've had to. They're trying to keep the weight. They don't want people in the book for longer than 5 years. Okay. So the scrutiny is intensified a little bit.
So you've got to find as many people as you can within that period of time.
Once you're in the book, then you have to find at least 20.
20.
Unless there's underrepresented regions. There's a few members who don't, but in general, at least 20 and things like that. So, yeah, it's a heck of a process. They take it extremely seriously, but it's fair. You know, every member coming in, every candidate going into the book has to demonstrate that they've got a real commitment to the game. It's not just, oh, I play golf every Saturday morning and my kids play golf. No, they need more than that. They need a demonstration that you are going to be committed to the game, committed to the club. You know, we really expect people. We've got members all over the world, but we would expect them to come up for the spring and autumn meeting. Maybe not every year, but definitely, you know, to come and support the club in their activities, and also to support the club in their activities in their own territory. We have quite a few members events in the first one in the US this year, Millennium Trophy over in Australia. So there's, and also and the RNA events as well. The RNA run obviously amateur championships and championships all over the world. We would expect our members to support those events, and they do. You know, it's they take it extremely seriously. And I think it's one of those things. Once you become a member, you know, you're part of something extremely special.
Yeah, I was obviously lucky enough to meet a number of members who were referees, because obviously running the tournaments and things like that, which is great.
Well, yeah.
And they take it really, really seriously and work really, really hard.
Absolutely,
you know,
they do.
All volunteers.
Absolutely, and they do. You know, we got some of our members. They live and breathe it, and they really understand that. You know, it was great to meet a few for those members early doors to realise, wow, this is something a bit more than anywhere else, maybe. You know, and I think it's because of the historic side of it, and the RNA over the years. You know, the club took on so much. You know, we're at a fishing village in Fife, which is a university town. Yet equipment standards, rules, the amateur championships, the boys championships, the Open Championship is all run from this small kingdom. And so obviously over the years, the RNA demonstrated that they were to be trusted with all that information, and our members buy into that. You know, and they realise they're part. They're not just. It's not just being a member of a club. You're part of something a lot bigger. Yeah. So any new members coming in have to understand that and have to have demonstrated that they will add value to all those things.
One of the things we've also seen is the introduction of women as members, and you know, recently I read that that's probably the quickest growing sector for golf. There's more ladies coming into the game, which I think is fantastic. You know, as someone who's got 2 grandchildren, you know, I've got a grandson and a granddaughter, and for them to have both the opportunities to play golf, and you know, barriers now are broken down, I think it's fantastic. And you know, can you tell us a little bit more about how you see ladies being integrated, and also are they just seen as, you know, same as men from an application perspective? It's not like, oh, we have to have a quota of ladies or that type of thing.
No, we did. You know, for 260 years of a 270-year existence, it was male only. And funny enough, we are the only mixed club in town. You know, so
because for those who don't know, there's 4. There's 2 men,
and 2 ladies.
Yeah, so St Andrews Club, a new club, and St Rawl is regulars. And I remember that, and I remember going into St Rawl, like one of my first dates, and I was like, wow. I had tea with the ladies. It was very much, no, this is the ladies' club. You know, I was like, okay. But and we used to run obviously the St Rawl Trophy as well. With great players used to play in that. Yeah,
I think what I like about the way the RNA have done this of integrated women members in is there's no separate competitions or events. We're all in it together. I like that. I mean, I've worked at clubs with a more percentage of women members, but they would tend to have their own competitions and tend to have maybe a lot of their own events, maybe, you know, separate honours boards, that sort of thing, and then come together for the occasional mixed stuff. That's not like that here. We're all the same, you know. So when we have a medal, it's for men and women, and we have a choice of tees now for average medals. So not only can women play off the back tee should they be comfortable with, and we've got some really good players here, but also the men can go forward if should they want to, and with the WHS system allows for that. So it's fully integrated. It really is. It's one club, one membership, and no matter what, whether you're male or female.
Yeah, no, perfect.
And we are, and we have the club have got a few areas that have definitely expedited women and people from underrepresented regions, both home and abroad. They will have a certain amount of people that they will bring forward, maybe a touch quicker, but they still have to follow that same criteria for membership. You're not just going to get in because you're from a particular area in the country. You still have to demonstrate that sort of commitment to golf.
To the club and overall.
To the club.
Yeah. No, interesting.
So it's I like it. I think it's the first club I've ever been where that's the process, and I really do like it.
One of the biggest events that took place here when I was here was the RNA's 250th in 2004, which was incredible. We're talking about wine.
Yes.
They bought the wine in 1992.
Yes.
And it was all that forward planning.
Yeah.
And I can remember at the time thinking, I think there was 8 events in 10 days. The smallest event was 600 people. The largest event was 1,200 people. And Sodexo did the catering. And I was thinking, this could be interesting. This could be a nightmare.
Yeah.
I have to say, it was run like clockwork. It was incredible. Fair play to the committee, the organising committee, but also Sodexo. There was no rubbish. Everything got picked up. You would not have believed that there was 1,200 people in a tent, the night before. It probably comes on to my next question. We had a lot of, I suppose, we spoke a lot with Peter Dawson and Lachlan and Orbin Stewart Wilson through my time as kind of director of operations. Look, we were looking after the customers, so it's not just about the RNA members during that time. There were obviously other events going on as well. And townsfolk want to play and the clubs want to play and X, Y, and Z. So that's the magic of St Andrews, but it's also the difficulty of St Andrews. How closely do you work with St Andrews Links Trust?
Oh yeah, I mean every day. I mean, I would say our golf services team, every day. They will be trying to get tee times for members and everything. So they will have a regular communication with the bookings department over there, and then we obviously have to fulfil our fixture list, our matches and things like that. So we have to speak to their director of operations and their the golf services guys over there. We get hugely involved with them when it comes to the championships. Obviously we've got the Dunhill that comes every year, and then the Open Championships coming next year. And generally it comes to St Andrews every 5 years. So there's a huge amount of communication and there as well. And just in general, really, I have a quarterly meeting with the operations guys there just to talk about certain things. And also another hat that I wear I'm the secretary of the Interclub Liaison Committee, which is a collective of all the clubs in town, and we meet to discuss various matters. We've got a brilliant thing going on at the moment. They've got this put together this thing for dementia golf, which is just really good. The committee put something forward, and they've taken it to the Links Trust, and the Links Trust are so supportive. They've been through quite a few changes recently in the year I've been here. There's been quite a lot of change, so we're still getting used to that. And the chief executive, Neil Coulson, is finishing, so they'll have a new chief executive coming up soon. But yeah, they're really good people. They're really helpful. Both, and then autumn and spring meeting as well. We have meetings beforehand. How we're going to run things, who does what. It's extremely a very professional organisation and with really good people involved. We're still getting to know quite a few of them. Like I say, they've had a period of change, and there's quite a lot of new people coming in. But any time I'm having any sort of discussion with them, I'm really impressed with it, and we get on famously. Really, we had
a great relationship when I was here. I think
important.
We went out of our way to have that relationship. But there was, Peter Dawson, I have to say, was great. It was great with me, looking after golf and the tournaments and that type of thing. I learned a huge amount from him and the rest of the staff at the RNA through that period of time, which carried me on to when I did other events, or when we put on events here, like the Links Trophy, for example. We had a number of RNA members who I always remember John Glover, who used to basically be the rules secretary and write the rules of golf, and he was one of our referees for the Links Trophy. And he was a brilliant guy to learn from and just listen to the stories. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's a really, we recognise how important that relationship is, and as far as I'm concerned, we get on extremely well. We liaise well together. We communicate well. There's always stuff happening, and we pick up the phone. We speak to they're well staffed. They know what they're doing. They're very professional, and long may that continue. And we're looking forward. Whoever the new chief executive is, that again, that's a new relationship, and we're looking forward to it. Neil's been brilliant. He's off to pastures new. Wish him all the best. And the new person who's coming in, we look forward to it.
Yeah,
I think they're recruiting at the moment for that.
100%. And you did mention the Open next year, 2027.
Yes.
It's coming back.
Yes.
How do you deal with that from a membership perspective? Because I guess everybody wants to be in town for that week.
It's the one. So we look at our data so members can apply for their own tickets and guest tickets. And for the 2022 Open, there was over 5,000 members and their guests here during that week. Okay. And we've got a members marquee, a clubhouse that dines 60 people, and a Forgan house that dines about 60 people. So, we learnt a lot from that. And I think maybe it was because it was the 150th, maybe at the 150th staging of the Open Championship. Maybe that was also a factor that we had more than usual. Yeah. But and
it was just after COVID as well.
Just after COVID, But we are expecting, to be extremely busy again in 27, and we've already started. We had a meeting yesterday afternoon actually with to talk about the hospitality side of it. After today, I've got a meeting with the marshals, so we're making a start now. We've already booked accommodation. It all starts well in advance. Yeah. And I'm very fortunate that the membership team here are very experienced. They've been here a long time, a lot of them, and they know what's going on. And they can put me right. They can say, right, so all I have to do is say, what do I need to do? Just sit there and shut up. Or sit there, but I need you to do this. Yeah. So they're brilliant. They've been doing it for many years. And we learned a lot from 2022 because that was extremely busy. So we've got some challenges that we need to overcome. Yeah. But we've already started the process, and we're very confident.
Learn from your mistakes and
I just think when it's so busy, you try and please everybody, but it's so hard. And I think we just maybe a bit more organisation around it and things like that.
That was one of the things that I learned from Jim James from Augusta was obviously. They have it every year.
Yes.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it in a couple of weeks' time. Yeah. And he came. We were lucky enough to get him for one of our summits that I know you came to as well. Yeah. And he basically highlighted that Augusta always try and seek perfection but never reach it. And it's really a case of every year, and they're lucky because it goes back to the same venue every year, but they never reach perfection. They're always looking for improvement in whatever area. And I think they show that, with this year they've just done a players' lounge that they've just released, for example.
I've heard about that,
Bergman's is amazing, that kind of thing. And I think I know that obviously the RNA work very closely with Augusta, and I think I've seen that when I've been to the Opens. Since probably my Open here in 2005, that's 21 years difference, and the changes are immense, aren't they? Especially from hospitality, and it grows. And I think expectations, though, also grow.
Absolutely.
So
no, you're absolutely right. I think that's my mantra. You always seek perfection, but you will never get there. You can always improve. You can always. I mean, I take when we have events here, autumn, spring meeting. I'm always scribbling down little notes, something so you don't forget. Just a tiny thing, tiny attention to detail. That could be done better. I don't know, the door's sticking a bit. Whatever it is, try and write it down quickly. And then just have a quick debrief afterwards, and have a look. And the two meetings I've been fortunate enough to be involved with here have gone so well, generally because the team are so they click into place. They click into place each time. But then with fresh eyes, you think, oh, could we do that like this? Could we do that? Could we do this? And sometimes you can't, and sometimes you can. But it's always just trying to keep going. If you stand still, the grass will grow above your feet, and someone else will be taking over. And suddenly, you want it. If you just the pressure of staying at the very high end and being at the very, very top table of golf is something you can either daunt you, which it does occasionally, sometimes, but also it's a privilege as well.
But again, also some of your members are members of the very highest clubs as well. But again, in the mantra of what you've highlighted, bring support and bring ideas for the benefit of the club. So if you've seen something at your club which you think is great, bring it to your attention. And I think it could be better if, for example, does it work? Yeah. And I think that's the beauty of a club. And when I was at Loch Lomond, we always said, like, look, we might not get everything perfect, but we're kind of like a family. You kind of forgive, and as long as we don't keep making the same mistakes, that's unforgivable. But we try and work it out to get to improve and continue to improve. And you want feedback.
That's what we say to all the staff here. Look, mistakes are made. What we've got to do is work. Is the first thing we do is work through it, find a solution. And then we'll look back and say, right, how can we avoid that happening again? Yeah. But no throwing each other under a bus. We're all here to work together. If somebody does something, and we all make them, let's face it, life's full of making small mistakes that you have to correct now and again. But what you don't want is the rest of them sort of walking away, whistling in the wind and pointing towards you. The mantra we have here is that we all support one another. We get it sorted as quickly as possible and we learn from it.
Yeah, 100%.
It's simple, really. But like you say, it's great to have members from these top courses because, you can
bring ideas,
don't they? Bring ideas, and it's, we've got to be a sponge there. There's certain things,
You're not going to have a swimming pool out there, that's for sure.
Well, no, I think that's not going to happen. But no, it's really good to hear. It's good to, and it's good for me to get out there sometimes and to visit these places. 100%. And I
was very lucky. That's something that the Links Trust did for me, to be able to see the best clubs and bring that operation.
You've got to remember to do it. That's the thing. Sometimes you can get too stuck into it, and you just sometimes need to say, no. I need to go out. I need to go out and see something else. I'm hoping to go to Loch Lomond soon because Lee Strutt's there now. As the
exactly. And John's a great guy. John Blanche is a great guy. So
times. So it's on the list to do that. To go over to Loch Lomond again. You might pick up. There might be certain things you can't take with you, but you'll pick up little nuggets. I used to love going to Sunningdale. I remember going to Sunningdale when I was at Dulwich and then realised they've got this beautiful welcome thing. I think, right, we'll take that. And it's just little things like that. Right, we can do that. All right, it might not be this beautiful oak sort of cabinet that costs a fortune or has been there forever, but we can in
the budget.
We can do it. And it's all those. I think it's sort of sometimes it's low cost, high impact, isn't it? And it's little things that you can do just
people
to
notice and go, that's nice.
Yeah, exactly. So I do need to remind myself to keep going out. I was at Kings Barnes yesterday, and it's a great experience.
He does a good job out there, and so I'm playing the Suppliers Day tomorrow. Can't wait.
I was there yesterday. I've got to apologise to Alan about my game, but no, he's a big partner here as well. Kings Barnes are big partners of the R&A. We have a couple of days up there for spring and autumn meeting. We have big events there. Art Dunkley, the owner's a member here. They're a real important partner of ours, and we really appreciate that partnership.
And the R&A backed it from the start as well, didn't it? They had an investment in it, and have seen that flourish.
It's a great relationship,
great,
and it's a phenomenal golf course. It's a treat. I played there yesterday. The sun was shining. I was thinking again. You're walking through it, and you're thinking, this is pretty good. I'm lucky to be here.
No, we are lucky. We're very, very lucky. One question that I didn't write down, but I saw it earlier, and it'd be interesting just to see if it affects you as well, that the R&A have mentioned their partnership with Accenture. And I was thinking that's quite interesting to have a consultant come in. Well, will you embrace that from a club as well? From looking at different ways to improve as well. I think that's quite full, from foresight, taking the governance and saying we need a consultant to look at all the different areas from how to run events to what's happening with AI, what's happening with everything in the world as an outside body to come in and give you help and support.
Well, the R&A organisation as a whole last year went through a complete strategic review. It was time. It was, I think one of Mark's first things he said was that we've come to the end of our current sort of strategic cycle, and we're going to start a new one. And I was heavily involved with that. We had lots of away days. Alan Robertson House in Kings Barnes, we were there for quite a lot. We'd probably had about 5 or 6 sessions. And they brought in a consultant there, Portas, who led us through everything. Okay. And now we've just delivered on this strategic review. And my job as part of my executive role is member advocacy. Is that the members need to all our members from all over the world need to sort of get to know the new strategic plan and to spread it around. And also the other thing for me to do is to make sure that all our members fill those committee roles and to find a way of getting more information from our members and learning more about them so that they can hopefully help us in the future and to deliver this strategic review. So consultancy used fairly regularly, and one of the new things here Mark and I are working on at the moment, which is we met yesterday to discuss it briefly, is we are also going to look at a specific club strategy on the side of that. Okay. And we're just working out at the moment, where do we start, how do we start it, and what's the end game is. So absolutely,
exciting stuff for the future.
It's really exciting. I love stuff like that. We did that at Dulwich. We had a huge all my clubs actually, but latterly Birkdale, we had a huge cycle there. A strategic plan went ahead, governance changes, things like that, and it's a lot of work. But it's worth it. It's definitely worth it. And when you get to it, you think, well, actually, that's seismic.
But you learn from it. We're going through it at the time, but when you look back, you kind of go, wow, look where we were and where we are now.
Yeah, exactly. And cool. It's very rewarding. So 100%. It was a really interesting phase last year. I was sat there sort of thinking, wow, this is, everything was discussed, championships, strategy, venue strategy, AIG Women's Open is huge. They take that so seriously and how we can make that better, all that stuff, golf development.
Ash
rules.
was down at Porthcawl, so the golf course was in immaculate condition.
Porthcawl was a great venue.
And you said it was a great tournament.
Yeah, great venue for us. I know the R&A take the AIG extremely seriously as well.
We can tell by the prize money, how much it's
prize money. The player, they've won awards for, the players have fed back that it's their favourite tournament. They've the facilities and everything, and that's a huge sense of pride. And so just being involved with that whole organisational strategy, I learned so much from those sessions, and and hopefully then that can be moved on to we'll have a club-specific strategic plan. Although the way things work here, I'm extremely impressed already. It's been here since 1754, and so nothing major. We don't need to do anything. We don't need to reinvent any wheels here. We just need to make sure that we're just
clicking little bits off, like Augusta.
Absolutely.
How do we just make those incremental changes to get consistency to rise?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Last two questions we ask everybody, and probably very personal questions as well. I've come to find out quite personal and also quite emotional sometimes. If you won the golf lottery and you had all the money in the world, but you had to spend it on golf, what would you spend it on, and why?
Well, I would love to design my own golf course. It's just something I've always been massively into, golf courses and golf design, and I've been very fortunate to spend time with some amazing golf course architects over the years. I'd love to have my own piece of land. It would be on either links or cliff top, but really good draining soil. I'd be growing fescue. I would go for 6 par 4s, 6 par 5s, 6 par 3s, because I think the Berkshire Red is
great, isn't it?
Fun. What a fun way to play golf.
Par 3s are really difficult, and the par 4s are really fun.
Yeah, that's it. Par 5, I love a course where you've just got a par. Oh, it's all right. My scores, I'm having a horrible round, but there's a par 5 around the corner. That should cheer me up a bit. And I'd make it a huge amount of variety, great practice facilities, an academy course, really good indoor technology as well for when the weather's not great. I'd have I tell you why I think they do it really well is Kingsbarns and the Castle course. Their clubhouses are great. Lots of, right on the sea, lots of glass all the way around, wrapping around, and a fairly sort of good food, but a more sort of relaxed setting. I'd probably go for that. But on the
But
course
that's because I was
itself,
born to go with it as
yeah,
well.
yeah,
sure.
definitely. Good
Absolutely.
food, really good food, good wine. Definitely that's on the list. But also on the course, I've always thought a variety of tees is, because you can't move greens. You can't building and moving greens is impossible. I'd have loads of different tees to change the angle of the hole each time, and you could really, really change. You could design the course to play just as well off a tee right on the left-hand side of a hole and completely to the right. So it doesn't get boring. You're not playing the same shot each time. It's a fresh challenge every time you play it. So that's what
That's beautiful. Links golf. You never.
Yeah.
It's different.
Yeah,
And that's
exactly.
what I learned from St Andrews.
Yeah.
Is that you never know what it's going to be and what shot you're going to play into what hole.
No long rough, lots of fescue, lots of different challenges, contouring to sort of, you punish a shot by contouring and making the angle more difficult rather than someone having to trample around looking for a golf ball every time. That's how I'd like to.
Not bad.
Like to see
Need a
it,
few
yeah.
quid though. So it's okay.
Yeah, we did say money was no object.
Yeah, we did. We did.
And it would be just working with golf course architects for me is one of the things that I've enjoyed the most. Tom McKenzie with a big project at Birkdale. It was just
we had Martin Herbert on the podcast, and he's great, and he was fascinating what he did at Turnberry. Yeah,
brilliant,
incredible to listen to.
There, so it's just great. And I've met a few others, some up and coming guys. Clive Johnson's great to chat to and stuff like that. Much more of a design and build approach from his days working with Tom Doak and stuff like that. So there's some brilliant people out there. Yeah. And I'd love to, and I'd be on the ground as well.
I'd
be on the tools every day.
Very good.
I'd be the one with the design and build thought of a golf course really would excite me. But I'd need a lot of money.
You would.
Yeah.
Last question. You had one more round of golf left in your life. Where would you play, and who would you play it with, and why?
So. I've thought about it. I think I'll have to go for a course that I've never played, but I've always wanted to. That's Cypress Point. I really want to play there.
So do I. That's the only one I
really want to play there. So I'm hoping I can one day.
I thought you might have gone for the Walker Cup.
Well, I was sort of quite young. It was still early in my tenure, so I didn't. But no, a lot of people went and just. It's an amazing place. So there, that would be the course I'd want to play. There's so many. I mean, trying to choose your favourite course from the is like trying to choose your favourite child, isn't it? It's not a bit unfair. So I thought I'd take it away and just play somewhere that I've never played before. And with who? So none of my family played golf. Yeah. I wasn't from a golfing family at all. No golfing background. But the player that got me into golf and watching him play, and I really switched on to the '87 Ryder Cup, was Seve.
Yeah. I
just used to watch this swashbuckling, bad-tempered occasionally, brilliant in person playing golf. Who's different from everyone else. And I just very quickly became a fanboy. Yeah. And he's the sort of person who can make a bogey, but it's a spectacular bogey. Yeah. He just had it all. And he was the person who made me play golf, really, watching him. And then after that, I used to watch others and appreciate others. Woosnam, because he was Welsh. Started to appreciate other players, but he was the one. He was the one that made me say, right, I want to go and pay 50 quid for my first set and join the local club. And I was hopeless at it as well. I was just, so it took me a long time to get into it. And then I would go for, I'm not good enough to be too serious about my golf, so I like to have a lot of fun when I'm playing golf. So I'll go for someone who I think has consistently made me laugh for 30 years, and that's Bob Mortimer.
Oh, brilliant.
He just makes me laugh so much. And
they've gone fishing.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
But he'd be go golfing.
Yeah.
Everything about him makes me laugh. Yeah. And he seems like a really good bloke as well. So
I agree with that one.
We'll go for Bob. Yeah. And then the last one, I will go for my hero when I was a little boy growing up, and that's Sir Kenny Dalglish. And
now I've played with Kenny, and he's very competitive.
He is. I got to know Kenny a little bit because he became a member of Birkdale when I was there, Royal Birkdale. Okay. And they say you should never meet your heroes, but I was really pleased I met.
He's a lovely
Sir
man.
Kenny. He's such a nice man, so humble. Great. Everything he's done in his career is just class act, top man. But I never managed to play golf with him. which was a shame because I would have really liked to. So
Good golfer.
He is a good golfer.
Good golfer.
Like you say, he is fiercely competitive.
Yeah.
But he used to just breeze into the office. It was lovely. He's a god up in Liverpool. In that whole area.
I'll tell you a quick story about that. So we used to, Marina used to bring her charity. And we used to have a charity golf day at Loch Lomond. This is probably the first one we ever did because we weren't allowed them really.
She's amazing as well.
When we were there, we've kind of said like, we'll do it, and it was brilliant. It was fantastic. Anyway, they said, look, with John Caban, who was my director of golf at the time, and he invited us to Anfield. And I was like, oh, wow, okay. We're going to Anfield with Kenny Dalglish. And we drive down there, park the car. Marina was great. So like, Kenny's in there. And Kenny's, he's like, hey, boys, come up the stairs. We're in the chairman's suite. Oh, good. Like, oh, wow, this is amazing. And then John Caban grabbed me and he goes, there's two things. One, my name is above yours. Secondly, it's above Diego Maradona's, and he's set right there. Yeah. And you're like going, oh my God.
I know, and he was such a nice,
but so easy. Totally we're sitting here with a glass of wine, talking to anybody like we are today as well. Just fantastic. And he used to love the lot. He used to love it, and it was always nice to see him.
Yeah, so that would be my fourple.
Fantastic. Michael, it's been an honour to be here in the Secretary's office, back again. I think the last time, as I said, was 2004 when Peter very kindly invited us up for a glass of champagne after the Amateur Championship. So pleased that you've got the job. You're enjoying it, more importantly. I had a great time in St Andrews. I think it's a lovely place for children to grow up, but from a family time as well. I think you're a perfect guy for it. It's been really informative. I'm sure a lot of people who are either looking or listening will now have a much more of an understanding about the RNA, but also what the membership involves, which I think is really important. Yeah. So really appreciate your time. I'm going to top up.
Thank you. Right.
You have a slurp?
Yes, I'll have a slurp. But no, thanks Neil. It's been a pleasure.